Hi everyone, today I'm going to be explaining the basics of color psychology in film. In this iconic scene from Wizard of Oz, Dorothy steps out of her bleak old black and white life into a magical, wonderful, colorful Oz. The scene alone demonstrates how color revolutionized visual storytelling since Technicolor's inception. Technicolor was invented in 1916, but it wasn't until the 20s that its use became more widespread. At first, Technicolor only filtered red and green light, limiting color palettes to where skin tones were red and nature was green. Everything else, like skies and water, would be unnaturally colored. In 1932, Technicolor adopted the subtractive color process that processed magenta, cyan, and yellow, gaining access to the full color spectrum. From the 1930s to 1950s, black and white cinema gradually shifted towards colorful and saturated Technicolor films. Here are some examples of the most iconic ones. As color integrated into cinema, scientists began trying to explain how color palettes in movies induced emotion. An article from the New York Times in 1937 stated that gray, blue, and purple are associated with tragedies, while yellow, orange, and red complement comedy scenes. Red was the color that best accentuated scenes of great dramatic intensity, with gray and purple the next most effective. So that was the history of color in film, but what exactly is color? And how can our perception of color affect our interpretation of movies? Well, first, let me go over some basic color theory. Color has three main aspects: hue, saturation, and value. Hue is the color itself on the color wheel, like red, blue, yellow, or green, for example. Saturation is its intensity, or how vivid the color is. And value is its brightness, or how light or dark the color is. A good example of saturation I found was the difference between the color palettes of Christopher Reeve's Superman and the new Man of Steel Superman. Here you can see the old costume is highly saturated and bright, while the new costume is dark and desaturated. Even without context, the color palette of the new costume has a more serious, gritty tone as compared with the old one. Color is simply wavelengths of light, but our perception of it helps us interpret the world visually. Filmmakers take advantage of the visual format of film by using colors to create atmosphere, evoke emotions, direct the eye to certain details, and signify important characters or events. Okay, now I'm going to show you a color, and you're going to think of the first emotion that comes to mind. Did you think of anger, lust, violence, or power? These mood associations are likely found in your schema for red. Even different saturations and values of red can evoke different emotions. Seeing certain colors can cause emotional arousal, but it's important to remember that everyone perceives color differently, and specific mood associations are subjective. Still, filmmakers take advantage of the subconscious emotional effect of color to set the mood for a film. This next infographic from Studio Binder provides a good breakdown of the basic color hues and their mood associations along with movie examples. Pink is associated with innocence, sweetness, femininity, playfulness, empathy, and beauty. Orange is associated with warmth, sociability, friendliness, happiness, exotic, and youth. Yellow is associated with madness, sickness, insecurity, obsessiveness, idyllic, and naive. Green is associated with nature, immaturity, corruption, ominous, darkness, and danger. Blue is associated with cold, isolation, cerebral, melancholy, passivity, and calm. And purple is associated with fantasy, ethereal, eroticism, illusory, mystical, and ominous. Of course, films are not limited to single colors per mood. Filmmakers can combine a multitude of colors to create certain color palettes or schemes. Color schemes usually fall into two categories: balanced and discordant. Balanced color schemes usually involve harmonious pairs of colors on the color wheel. The four types of balanced color schemes are monochromatic, analogous, complementary, and triadic. Monochromatic color schemes involve shades of a single color. This results in a very harmonic, unified look, such as in the monochromatic greens of The Matrix. Analogous color schemes use colors neighboring each other on the color wheel. Another harmonic color scheme, this can be seen in the green, blue, and purples of Monsters, Inc. Complementary color schemes use colors directly opposite to each other on the color wheel. This results in a high contrast of warm and cool. A common example is the orange and blue combination used in blockbuster films, since the clash of warm and cool colors can associate with conflict. And finally, the triadic color scheme, which involves a three-color triangle on the color wheel. Typically, these can be red, blue, yellow, or green, orange, purple. It's a very vibrant color palette and the least common. While balanced color schemes involve harmonic pairings of color, discordant color schemes involve a deviant color that directs the eye towards certain details. The color is salient, it's unusual, and stands out, drawing our focus. An example of this is La La Land, where her yellow dress clearly stands out from the purple and orange sunset behind them. Besides having certain color palettes for specific scenes to set tone, filmmakers often use color to associate with a specific character or recurring theme. Visually, this allows the audience to keep track of characters or themes almost subconsciously. For example, in The Godfather, whenever oranges appear, death will certainly follow. Another example is the color of lightsabers in Star Wars, with green or blue symbolizing the light side, while red symbolizes the dark side. As for character design, a recurring character often has a recurring color theme, so audiences can immediately recognize them whenever they appear. For example, Kill Bill's iconic yellow jumpsuit. Characters can also have color themes with mood associations, symbolizing that character's personality or role. Inside Out provides a good example of this especially, since the characters are also emotions. Here, anger is red, disgust is green, joy is yellow, fear is purple, and sadness is blue. When these established color associations shift, it typically signifies events where there are major changes to a character, theme, or plot. For example, in this scene from the opening of Up, there is a drastic mood change shown through the shift from bright, happy yellow to depressing black. Because there is no dialogue in this scene, the mood shift is entirely shown through the color change, along with the music, of course. Overall, colors cue the audience to respond in certain ways towards a film. Our interpretation of color is subjective, so filmmakers must be careful when choosing color palettes. Still, some mood associations are generally shared, so lots of scenes share the same color and mood. But ultimately, it's up to the filmmaker to decide how they want the colors to affect us.